Hello everybody, this is Kay. Thank you for joining me today here on my channel, Gigi's Paper Treasures. This is going to be a quick video today, just a flip through of this Edith Holden journal I just finished. I mean, literally just finished, like 5 minutes ago. And this will be listed in my Etsy shop. If you're interested in taking a look at that, I will put the link in the description box below. I'm calling it an Edith Holden journal because I have used the book cover as my topper for my journal, and I have other items throughout made with the book pages, but I've also included other items from my stash and that I made that don't have the Edith Holden vibe to them. So let me just explain the cover. You know, obviously the cover is the cover of her book, which I distressed and inked, but I've included some clusters here. This is actually a tea bag ruffle with some paper flowers, a couple of butterflies I stamped and cut out, and some more flowers, a few more flowers down here. This was a collage strip that I made using some of my brown paper that I put underneath on this edge, and it is a hardcover which I covered with fabric, but the spine is fabric, so it's soft. I don't know if you can see, it's flexible. This is a one signature journal, but believe me, it's plenty chunky. I've really packed it full of goodies. I added the closure is a tie on the side closure here, which is just some muslin that I ran underneath before I covered the insides of the cover. So you can see here I made a pocket with some of this kind of coffee dyed tissue paper, or not tissue paper, tracing paper inside the front cover. There's one of the pages from Edith's book, my little note that I include on every journal I sell, a little card that I made. It's actually some laminated pieces in there and sewn. I've included some digitals, and I will try to remember where I got these digital prints that are throughout here from, and link that below too. This is one of my designed labels, so it can be personalized there. I've included craft paper, drawing paper, music paper. This is some Easter egg dyed paper, regular tea dyed paper throughout. This is in a little envelope I made out of one of the book pages with some fancy stitching, and tucked in a couple of little journaling spots, and that just goes under that paper clip. Tea dyed paper, music paper, and I just kind of left this, I didn't want to cut it off. I just folded it over and made kind of a flip, and I tucked in another little journaling card here. This was some of that Tim Holtz decoupage paper, collage paper, I'm not sure what it's called. And then I added, you know, a fussy cut and a couple more of my paper flowers there. And that's just clipped in. And like I said, this is Easter egg dyed paper, and then I took some of the scripty book pages from Edith's book in strips and inked them up and kind of made like a weave, but a real loose open weave, and I left these slots unglued, or they're glued at the bottom, so they're all little kind of tuck spots, and I filled all those little spots up with goodies like that. This is a paper clip that I learned how to do this from Natasha at Treasure Books, and it's just clipped onto that page, but it was holding this closed, which is just kind of a zigzaggy element that I decorated with some book page and stickers, and it provides you with a little bit of kind of some hidden journaling spots there. But I just made it into a tuck rather than gluing the whole thing down, and I've got one of these little waterfall pads tucked in to there. Okay, another one of those flowery digitals. Here's a side pocket made with Edith's book page and a couple of other little pieces tucked in there. I had this cut off from the edge of a music page, and I just made it into kind of a ziggy-zaggy journaling spot. This is a paper flower that I made, and then I used some mixed media and glitter on there to make it kind of more interesting. Here's another one of those collage strips I made, turned into a tuck spot on this page. And this is a music paper bag that I stenciled on and then made it into a bag. And I have a kind of a plain tag and just another little piece of paper for journaling in there. I'll go back and put that back together later. On this page, I've got a little hidden paper clip in coordinating scrapbook paper. This is just kind of a little pocket item with a couple of little goodies tucked into the pockets. Piece of vellum. This is a butterfly I stamped on some fabric, a scrap of fabric I had left over. And this is the middle of the signature. I made this out of a piece of scrapbook paper and made big pockets. In the big pocket on the left here, I have a junk mail envelope item I made with pockets, and they have just large tags in them which show through those pockets, so I pulled them both out. And you can see I used some of the scraps from Edith's book to decorate these tags with. These I just pasted on here for journaling spots. Some more of my little stamped fussy cuts there. And I put these on the pockets because they were kind of plain. I made these little stamped leaf images into kind of a tuck spot. So I have this one here. And this one here. This is a sticker. And then on this side, I've got just a cross journaling card with another little journaling card kind of clipped on there. So that's the middle of the signature. Here's a pocket I made out of vellum and scrapbook paper, and I left the back as a pocket as well. And I have just a giant plain tag back here with a brad and some muslin topper. And this is a vellum pocket. This is one of my tea bag covered index cards. I have a video on that if you're interested in looking at that. Piece of scrapbook paper left over from another project that I turned into a tag. And then a little kind of circle tag element that kind of spins on this brad. I like making those out of scraps as well, and then kind of leaving them loose so they can, one piece can tuck in and one piece can hang out. I like that look. Okay, another digital. This page I just kind of pasted on a journaling spot and some other pieces of scraps from Edith's book. On this side, it flips out. I made a tuck spot with some of the scripty page and a tag sewn around with a little bit of muslin at the top. This was book page that I just pasted onto some marbly cardstock I have. And that's kind of like a hidden little spot. Here's a library card that pocket and card. I made it into a tuck. And in that tuck I have this little journaling tag. And I used some napkin and some glitter to decoupage on top of the actual library card. And on the pocket I just did lace, an image from the book, a little label, and then I took my little white marker and made some markings, some dot markings up there in the corner. And here's a pocket that I made out of some book page with another one of those tags on the marbly paper tucked into that pocket. This is kind of a giant hidden paper clip thing, holding this card in, which is just one of my cards that I had from one of my days when I got into my mixed media, my paints and my oxides, and sometimes I just do that with like scraps and pieces that I have cut-offs, and I turn them into kind of mixed media pieces that I can make journal cards out of. And this big paper clip thing is also holding this music paper closed. And this is one of my little brown paper bags. I put some sticker tape on the front, and I've just got some little ephemera pieces tucked into that and slipped under that paper clip, or no, into the music paper, but also in the paper clip. I put a little quote that I had left over from a page. Gratitude as a discipline involves a conscious choice. It is amazing how many occasions present themselves in which I can choose gratitude instead of a complaint. Isn't that true? All right, I made a little envelope out of some more of that coffee dyed tracing paper. And I've got a couple of little things tucked in there. We're almost done. Another digital on that page. And this is the inside of the back cover. Another pocket with a tissue paper. And this was from Edith's book. I just fussy cut out this kind of strand of leaves here. And one more of these tags onto the marbled paper. So that is that, and it just ties here for the closure. I hope you've enjoyed this flip through. Like I said, I will have this listed in my Etsy shop, and I'll put the link below if you're interested in hopping over there to look. And I thank you so much again. Have a blessed day.